candidate and welcoming to the stage the Pennington County Commissioner candidates. Yes, looking for your name, your respective seats. Starting with Area 1, Commissioner Davis, if you'll find a microphone, and George Farabee, we're going to put you on the other microphone. Your opening statement, 1 minute.
Well, hi, I'm Ken Davis. I'm a candidate for the Pennington County Commission from District 1. Thanks for inviting me here today to speak to you folks. I appreciate it. I've been taught all my life to help others. That is why I'm again running for the County Commission in re-election. When I was 16 in 1956, I joined the South Dakota National Guard and spent 8 years in the Guard learning and helping when needed. My 12 years in the County Commission, I've been a member of the Ellsworth Task Force to protect the base. We worked with Senator Thune and Governor Rounds. We stopped the BRAC from closing Ellsworth. I'm a member of Senator Thune's interview team for student applicants to the Military Academy. I'm a volunteer on the National Board of Sky Range for Boys, as well as past chairman of the Honorary Commanders Program at Ellsworth. And Ellsworth protects our national security and puts nearly $1 million a day into our economy. I ask that you take time to compare me and my opponent. Do a Google search.
Not allowed to say that. Must stop.
I believe real leaders don't complain, they just find solutions. Thank you.
And George Farabee, 1 minute opening statement.
Thank you. My name is George Farabee, and I certainly want to thank Reverend Barcher for recognizing veterans. We tend to forget that the only reason we can have gatherings like this is because of those of us that served in the armed forces of the United States, all those who give their lives and are giving their lives. We tend to forget that. Thank you, Reverend Barcher. For those of you that don't know me, grew up on a farm and a ranch, worked my way through college, no grants, no loans, went to work for Boeing. In Vietnam, heated up. I volunteered to serve the United States Air Force. I spent 20 years. Since then, I've been hung up my uniform, and I wanted to do nothing more than live life out in the country where I grew up and run cows. That lasted for about 15 years until the county got oppressive. So I'm now volunteering to serve you folks on the District 1, the Pennington County Commission. Thank you.
Question number 1 for both of you. You should have this memorized by now. What is the basis of your moral compass, and how will that influence what you decide is best for Rapid City? Commissioner Davis.
Well, thank you, Representative. I appreciate that. So I was born, baptized, confirmed, and raised a Catholic. I believe in most teachings of the Catholic Church and the Catholic religion. I believe in the sanctity of marriage. I am not a fan of abortion for birth control. It's pure stupid. My wife and I were married for nearly 37 years before I lost her to cancer, but we both knew where home was. And believe me, we had a home for 37 years. I don't like to wear my religion on my sleeve, nor force my beliefs on others. But if you ask, I will tell you what I think. I believe in helping all people that need a helping hand. You make up your mind what is best for you, but if you need help, I'll be there. We have some members of a church that's nearby me here tonight, and I'm not going to name any names or point anybody out, but I've helped that church considerably being a Catholic, and it's a different denomination, and I believe in helping others when it's needed. Closing is very simple. Real leaders don't complain, they just find solutions. Thank you.
And George Farabee, same question, 1 minute.
The basis for my moral compass is my upbringing, and those of us of my age, my opponent's age, were lucky enough to be born at the right place at the right time. Right and wrong were pretty clear to us when we were kids. And the golden rule was applied, and I feel so sorry for the kids born at the 60s and on, that there was no moral compass for those folks. If anybody in the neighborhood, well, let me back up. My parents couldn't find a key to the house. They left the keys in the pickups, the cars. Tractors didn't have keys in those days. You could leave a tractor out in the field, not worry about it. Those are upbringings that unfortunately those youngsters amongst us don't have. My mother tried her best, and I'm sure folks will comment about that, tried her best to bring me up Christian, and she did. I'm not making fun of her, obviously, or you folks.
Much time. Okay. Moving to question number 2, Commissioner Davis, what do you see as the most important issues facing the Pennington County Commission at this time?
Well, I believe the Pennington County is a pretty good, solid financial footing. We're not like some of the other counties in the state of South Dakota that have opted out 6, 7, 8 times of the tax freeze. I think we're doing quite well. But my main objective is taxation, spending, and fair equalization of all property in Pennington County. And that's for ag, residential, and business. There's some unfairness in the state statutes when it comes to the ag taxation, and I think some of that needs to be changed. Don't get me wrong, I believe that we need small acreage ag designation, but we don't need $1 million houses, $1 million pieces of property, and the rest of us subsidizing that property when their taxes are minimal. That's what I believe comes for us from Pennington County. Thank you.
And George, what would be your top 2 priorities as county commissioner if elected?
Thank you very much for that question. My first priority, I think those of you that know me would certainly agree that the planning and zoning ordinance, the entirety of it, needs to be overhauled. And as I tell people when I go door to door, I would like a 5-member, 7-member, no more than 9 members board, a task force of nothing but citizens, make recommendations to the board as to how much planning and zoning Pennington County needs. Not wants, but needs. Fall River County has no planning and zoning, period. Meade County, a couple of years ago voted 2-1 against planning and zoning. Do we need some planning and zoning? Probably. For the last 3, 4, 5 years, my wife and I have sat in commission meetings and watched people get hammered and hammered. This is supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people, not of the bureaucrats, for the bureaucrats, and by the bureaucrats. The second issue is taxation. The spending, overspending that goes on, and 2 examples I'll point out to you. The Spring Creek fiasco in Hill City. It's somebody else's money, let's spend it. If we don't spend it, somebody else will. Several of us have tried our best to stop that spending. It's going on. Another example is the FEMA fiasco for, well, everybody in this part of the state that got hurt in the October storm. One of the commissioners asked not to take the money, but the majority of the board went ahead and took it. There's places, obviously, where we can cut spending. Like 2 big issues. Number 1, planning and zoning, and other ordinances as well, and spending. Thank you.
And George, staying with you, your closing statement, you have 1 minute.
Persons have a right or liberty to, number 1, follow their own will in all things that the law is not prohibited. And number 2, not to be subject to the inconstant, uncertain, unknown, and arbitrary wills of others. That statement was made by a guy named John Locke. Historians say he was the primary influence on our founding fathers. I wonder what our John Locke and our founding fathers would say about what Pennington County is doing to its citizens, what kind of grade they would give Pennington County. I'm certain that their grade would be similar to mine. That's why I'm volunteering to serve, so that the people can live their lives the way that they want to. Arbitrary rules over and over and over. Let's quit that. Thank you.
And Commissioner Davis, 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you, Representative Craig, appreciate that. My closing statement will just have to say that my record stands for itself. I worked diligently throughout the 12 years that I've been on the commission with economic development, Ellsworth Task Force, the Ellsworth in its entirety to bring that, to keep that base where it is. I've worked to keep the tax levy frozen for the last few years. I have tried to stop the spending that's going on in Pennington County, and we have controlled that considerably. And I think as far as planning and zoning goes, I do on a frequent basis bring up issues to change in planning and zoning. And yes, there is some over-stringent regulations in planning, and we are attempting to change some of those, and I think that will be changed. Just want you to know that my family moved into the Belle Fourche Valley in 1876, so my family's been in South Dakota a long, long time, and I continue to stay here and continue to call this my home. Thank you.
Thank you,